Got a lot to get into. We will be joined by our friend Jerry Bonkowski, who covers NASCAR. That coming up a little later on in the show, as Joey Logano picks up a huge win at North Wilkesboro, a place he is very familiar with winning at. Our friend Ryan Ballengee hangs out with us as well from Golf News Net after Ryan Fox is the unlikely winner of the final major of the golf season, the Open Championship at Royal Birkdale, and a lot to talk about when it comes to what transpired with Bryson DeChambeau, something that was a big topic of conversation amongst many of us in our social media channels over the weekend. All of that to come. Baseball, the Red Sox run their winning streak to the second highest win streak in franchise history, doing something they haven't done since 1948. We'll tell you about that. Bad news for the Dodgers on Shohei Ohtani, but the long-term prospects for him are still good. And Grandpa, get off my lawn. You have to hear this announcer for yourself, who was a little cranky about somebody taking an extra second or two to admire a home run. We'll play that for you. News from the WNBA and odds and ends, but we start things out as we always do on this Monday edition of the show. It's time for the big story. And the big story is presented by the Daily Wrap, Substack's Monday through Friday newsletter. Sometimes we even put it out on the weekends if we have a good reason to. The Substack Daily Newsletter, available Monday through Friday. Just scan the QR code right there. It's easy. You got your phone in your hand. Just scan the QR code and subscribe. It's free. A lot of people make you pay for their newsletters. We don't. We are making it free of charge for now. Go and check out the Substack Daily Newsletter. Again, just scan the QR code or go to Substack and check out the Sports Wrap with Jason Page Daily Wrap there for you. All right, let's talk about the World Cup, which ended in a 1-0 extra time win and a back-to-back World Cup championship, and Messi in tears, thanks to this guy, Ferran Torres, with the game-winning goal in the extra time. And look, if you watch this game, which I did, one, you probably weren't thrilled with the fact that you didn't have any scoring until the second half of extra time. But if you watched this game, there was no doubt who the better team was. Spain dominated on the offensive side of things. Only late, in like the final 6 or 7 minutes, did Argentina wake up with a sense of desperation and actually put some shots around the goal and damn near tied this game a couple of times, even though they were down a man, which I don't think there was any question was deserved. The back-to-back yellow cards going to a member of the Argentinian squad, which put them a man down. But, you know, at the end of the day, the better team won. Spain was the better team. I don't need to be a soccer expert, and I'm not going to pretend to be a soccer expert, by the way. They took Messi out of this game. He really wasn't a factor over the course of the, whatever it was, 130 minutes, 115 minutes of this game, 120 minutes of this game. He really wasn't a factor. They took him away and said, somebody else is going to beat us. And frankly, they didn't really have to take him out of the game because he does his damage on the offensive end. And Spain dominated the attack time in this game. So congratulations to Spain. They win back-to-back World Cups, their second World Cup ever. That all being said, and by the way, congratulations to Messi if that's his final World Cup. He's 39 years old. Is he really going to come back at the age of 43 and play in the World Cup again? Anything's possible, I suppose, but a lot of people assuming that is his final World Cup. So, with that being said, let's talk about the rest of this World Cup. First of all, I enjoyed the halftime show. I thought it was entertaining. It was long, but it was entertaining. I enjoyed seeing Justin Bieber out there. I love Shakira. Couldn't get enough. You can never get enough of Shakira, can you? She's fantastic. I could probably do without 67-year-old Madonna out there in fishnets. Yeah, you know, it's okay. I mean, she did lip sync the whole thing as well, which was a little tough to see. It was weird seeing Chris Martin amongst the kids who were performing towards the end of this thing, and then finding out, oh, Chris Martin produced it. That's why he was out there. But he wasn't trying to showcase himself. the Coldplay frontman, but he was just out there. I thought the whole halftime show, though, was entertaining in general. Had no issue with it. A lot of global love, which is what the World Cup is ultimately all about. Can I get a little Shakira? There she is. There's Shakira. Thank you. Love watching Shakira. She can. Hips don't lie, man. That's all I'm going to tell you. As far as the World Cup as a whole, was this a net positive for soccer in the United States? Yes, I'm calling it soccer. Don't get offended. We have this thing called the NFL in the United States. Was it a net positive? And I got to say, for me, I'm just kind of meh on it. You know, after the U.S. got eliminated, I barely watched. And I'm sure the matches were great, and I read about them and, you know, kept up on the notes and saw the highlights, but I'm not sitting there and watching teams that I don't have a vested interest in because it is an international event. If you had a vested interest in those teams, you were probably watching. Or maybe you're just an enormous soccer fan and you keep on watching. I just wonder what it does for moving soccer forward in the United States. What's the carryover effect? We asked that question after the Olympics when the United States won in gold in the men's and women's game. And we thought, oh, the big push for hockey. Did it, though? Did it really? I'm not so sure. You know, hopefully this was a step forward in the right direction for the United States making it into the round of 16. We won't know that for 4 more years, whether this was a blip on the radar or whether or not they are actually going to be able to make something out of this and continue to climb up the international rankings and be a factor when we get to, you know, the World Cup 4 years from now. But for me, it's just kind of a, all right. It was a nice interlude into our summer sports programming, which typically can be very bland. Let me know what you think. You can hit me up over at sportswrap.tv. Go into the contact section and send me your notes. We're coming back. We've got more to do. Ryan Ballengee talks golf next. Welcome back to the show. I've had my say in the big story. Talked a lot about the World Cup. Other big story from the weekend had to be the Open Championship out at Royal Birkdale. Thoroughly entertaining stuff. Couldn't take my eyes off it. Ryan Ballengee probably couldn't take his eyes off it either. With Golf News Net, the founder, hangs out with us from some airport in the middle of America, because who doesn't love sitting in an airport doing an interview on this show? Ryan, thanks for being with us. I want to get into the Bryson DeChambeau stuff, but I'll save that for next segment because that is its own thing that took place there, and the Rory McIlroy reaction and the way golfers and golf media and everybody was reacting to it. I want to talk about the tournament, though, because this was a hell of a finish with Ryan Fox overcoming a couple of awful breaks on the back nine, a couple of bad bounces that just didn't go his way on the back nine. To be able to turn this into his first major. I mean, as somebody who watches the game, tell us who Ryan Fox is, because a lot of people don't know much about the New Zealander.
I love Ryan Fox. He's a 2-time PGA Tour winner, had a career year last year. He won at Myrtle Beach, won the Canadian Open. You know, he's 39 years old, which is quite rare to be a first-time major winner at that stage of your life. He didn't start playing golf until he was kind of in his teens. A lot of guys who are professional golfers, you know, they pick up the game as soon as they can hold a club, and they are kind of born and bred to be a professional golfer. And that was not Ryan Fox. He admitted after winning, and I did not know this about him, that he kind of thought his ceiling was just making it to the PGA Tour someday. And then it turns out that wasn't the ceiling. And he's very much a homegrown swing guy. I mean, you notice he has kind of that old school Paula Creamer, Natalie Gulbis dip into the driver, but he hits the ever-living crap out of the ball, which I absolutely love. He loves links golf. You know, he's won a couple different times in Europe. He won their biggest tournament on the DP World Tour, the BMW PGA Championship. He won on a links course to win the Alfred Dunhill Links, their version of the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Just a very affable guy a lot of people will like, and a great champion. He's going to be a great champion. He
is, but, you know, 6 months from now, we probably won't remember that he won it, because that's just unfortunate. That's the reality when it's somebody you don't, you know, really know that well. And you got to feel for Cameron Young, because it felt like he had this thing in the bag, you know, late afternoonish, because you were getting the sense, I didn't think 10 under was going to win. You know, the way everybody kind of started out, I felt like it was going to take more than 10 under to win. But it started as the afternoon started to progress and things got more difficult and challenging for a lot of the guys, and some of them started to succumb under the pressure. You know, it felt like Cameron Young could win this thing, and this has got to be a real heartache for him.
Yeah, it felt for a while like that 10 under would do it, and then, you know, just have to survive 18. And unfortunately, Cam Young didn't get the chance to do that. 64 is still a heck of a score on a Sunday. It's different, though. You're playing from way behind. You have a little different element of pressure. And then the second you realize, wait, I can win this thing, that's when the bogey comes that kind of deflates your chances. And still, he had to wait for, 2.5 hours after his final round to find out that he had lost. Such an interesting contrast between Ryan Fox making that 11-footer to win the tournament and then cutting to the range and watching Cam Young just sigh and go, there's another one that I could have had. He could have had this in 2022 at St. Andrews. He was part of the mix then. Didn't work out that day either. He's a great player, and he's having his best year to date, and he is continuing to put himself in these positions, and he's got to feel like, yeah, this one got away from me, unfortunately. There was an opportunity that he had and kind of went fleetingly, but he can do this, and I think he knows he can do it now. Talk
about getting away. Sam Burns. Man, how many bites at the apple is he going to get, Ryan? Because it felt like this was, you know, a real opportunity for him that goes by the wayside.
Yeah, he's had a couple of these in U.S. Opens, although they were more from behind. He now had this one as a 54-hole leader. He had a look at a Masters not too long ago.
It was basically a three-hole stretch. It was basically a three-hole stretch on the front side that doomed him.
Yeah, and intriguingly, that's the way Birkdale plays, is that you make your hay on the front 8 holes on the golf course, and then you hang on for dear life until you get to the par 5s on the back. And that didn't work out that way for him. It's unfortunate. Class act gesture to applaud Ryan Fox after he made the putt on the 72nd hole, but he also had to kind of feel like this was a bonus tournament. This was almost a bonus major. He wasn't intending to play this thing.
Yeah.
And for, you know, his daughter, Belle, was born 10 days early, so he could play. So I don't know how you take this if you're him, but you got to feel at least somewhat positive that you didn't even intend to be here and you almost figured this out. So I don't know where he goes from here.
Talk about where we go from here with Scotty Scheffler. You know, who was, listen, it's the flat stick that's letting him down. I mean, how many short putts is the guy going to miss? You know, when you watch this tournament, he put himself in positions to make putts that would have given him this tournament, and he simply couldn't make them.
Yeah, best tee to green player in the tournament.
Yes.
By far, but the putter. And they showed a graphic on Saturday, and NBC does this every now and then, where they'll show, you know, the feet made of putts on every single hole over the course of the day. And I don't think there was one Scotty Scheffler made that was longer than 4.5 feet. And just piling up these 1 and 2 footers, just missing the cup, just missing the hole. You got to feel like you let this one slip away. You had a great year. You finished in the top 5 in 3 majors, and you got none of them. And it's an unfortunate circumstance to kind of walk away with 0 of them after the year that you had.
And, you know, I mean, and that's kind of the question. Is this a disappointing year for Scotty Scheffler? You know, he had the 1 win at the Amex, and he could be number 1 ranked player in the world till the cows come home. This thing's about winning majors. It's about, you know, winning championships. And yeah, the FedEx Cup is still, you know, kind of hanging out there, but this has to feel like a disappointing season for him.
Yeah, I feel like it's one that got away. I mean, he had a crack at the career Grand Slam at Shinnecock that almost felt, you know, this time last year like a certainty that was going to happen. That didn't quite work out. Had a crack at the Masters. That didn't work out. Has a run here that, frankly, he was the best player tee to green, and that didn't work out. So there's always next year. There's a murderer's row of major venues next year with the U.S. Open at Pebble Beach, the Open at St. Andrews. Yeah, PGA Frisco's in there too, but that's actually in his home state of Texas, so that could work out for him. So, yeah, you got to feel like it's a lost season, but you also played so well. And, yeah, you're going to regress every now and then. But you know what you got to work on here? You got to get better at putting. And frankly, your wedge play numbers were not as good this year if you're Scotty Scheffler. So get those things dialed back in when you take the fall off and come back next year and wow us again.
Yeah, the links golf stuff drives me crazy because I can't count how many times on the broadcast yesterday somebody would hit what looks like a great shot and you'd literally hear the announcer, either Dan Hicks or the course reporter, go, well, it depends on the bounce. You're at the mercy of a bounce. I mean, good shots aren't rewarded, it feels like, so many times in links golf. We got more with Ryan Ballengee. I want to talk with him about the Bryson DeChambeau stuff. This edition of Sports Wrap continues. Ryan Ballengee of Golf News Net is hanging out with us on the show. Check out his work there. He is the founder. He's traveling, making time for us, and we appreciate that. I just wanted to get your reaction to what I said on the back end of that last segment before I get to Bryson about, sort of the bounces of links golf, how you're just at the mercy. I mean, was it Ryan Fox? Somebody hit like a 340-yard drive with like an iron late in the round, and it just runs through into a bunker, and you're just sitting, you got to be scratching your head. It has to be so frustrating to hit good shots that aren't necessarily rewarded when you come to these links courses.
It can be. I think it takes some American players in particular a long time to embrace kind of the nuances, the vagaries, if you will, of links golf, because so much stuff happens that is completely out of your control, particularly off the tee. And that's why you saw so many players this week at Birkdale lay up short of trouble, even on a 508-yard finishing hole that's playing as a par 4 for the first time. And they said, you know what, I'd rather take my chances hitting 230 or 250 in than entertain bunkers, entertain out of bounds, entertain deep rough. That happens a lot in these tournaments. And good on Ryan Fox for deciding on the 72nd hole, you know what, forget all that safety. Let's play for the win, play to my strength. Sometimes you kind of have to know the push and pull of when you go for it, when you don't.
The Bryson DeChambeau debacle from Friday. So as somebody who's played competitive golf, I mean, I know enough about the rules of golf. I'm not an idiot. I could explain it and talk about it. But to somebody like you who's played competitive golf, what did you see? Because to me, something as subjective as what this was, without an official on site, doing it all after the fact and piecing together camera shots, to me, it didn't feel like a 2-shot penalty was worthy, that he was worthy of that. What did you see, and how was your reaction to it?
So when I saw it on TV, I thought, ooh, that's going to come back to bite him. When I saw it live.
Wow.
And the reason is, as a competitive golfer, you are taught, particularly at a high school or collegiate level, do not back up into tall grass. Never back up into tall grass, because if you trample it down, then you, in any way, then you have improved your swing path. You have improved potentially your lie. And that's kind of the same thing when you think about moving twigs or mulch on the golf course. You got to be very careful not to move the golf ball, because if you do, that's a penalty.
Right.
And, that you have to be super careful in those situations. I think Bryson was a little careless here. This is something that a lot of pro golfers do, though, and they don't get called on it, where they kind of come to a nasty spot, and they kind of pantomime and trample down the grass behind them, and like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do with the shot. And meanwhile, they're stomping all over the tall stuff that's in the way of them. And they never get called out for it, right? There's some video circulating around Dustin Johnson doing it. People are still up in arms about Wyndham Clark potentially doing with a weird camera angle at the U.S. Open. And yet, to me, it's still a clear penalty. It was a clear penalty when those guys did it too, just didn't get called. And when he makes that step back away from the ball and then back into his stance to hit the shot, he clearly steps into that tall grass, and it doesn't stand up like it once did. And that's improving your swing path. Whether it's 1% or not, that's improving your swing path. It doesn't matter whether you intended to do it or otherwise. That's a 2-stroke penalty. He could have gone around the grass and kind of come into the stance. It would have looked awkward and weird, but that would have been the appropriate play. So for me, it's a clear penalty. I get why other people don't think it is. I get why they want more evidence than that. And I get why someone like Scotty Scheffler would say, hey, we need to be more strict about our enforcement of the rules, but also let's not use TV cameras to get every guy whose every shot is seen on TV.
Your reaction, because I had a visceral reaction to the way that NBC and Golf Channel, it felt like to me, piled on Bryson and turning me into a Bryson supporter is the most impossible thing to do because, it's sticky and, he's the YouTube golfer and all that stuff. But by the time I was done, I actually felt like I was on Bryson's side as to why he sort of, takes on the media the way he does, because I felt like they were piling on at the end of the day. And I felt like there was an agenda and a narrative being pushed that Bryson's the villain, because we got to have heroes and villains. We can't just play things sort of in the middle. We have to have heroes and villains. Then you have Rory chiming in and them going to that. What was your reaction to sort of the media reaction, golf Twitter, all of that stuff, and the way it all played out over a 48-hour period?
I do agree that Golf Channel, particularly Brandel Chambly, who is not a fan, and Eamon Lynch is also not a fan, a great writer for Golf Week, but also very outspoken. Both those guys are. And they had nothing but negative to say about the incident Bryson did and how he comported himself after the fact. And I get it. I get that they kind of hold him in contempt. And Rory does too. He's not a fan of Bryson because he is a performative guy. He is one way in front of the cameras and one way not in front of the cameras. I get all of that. But you also kind of have to play it straight, right? There were so many players who said, in my opinion, this isn't a penalty or doesn't warrant a penalty. And there also needs to kind of be a nuance to this situation. Did he do it on purpose or not? That doesn't matter for the rules of golf. Do I think he committed an infraction that warrants a 2-stroke penalty? Yes, but I'm not the only opinion that matters. There are lots of people with plenty of great golf experience, way better than I'll ever have, that thought it wasn't a penalty. And at the end of the day, you can just say he did something that got him penalized. You can disagree with the ruling. You can agree with the ruling. But that's what happened. Let's move on with it. And ultimately, he wasn't a factor on Sunday. He ran out of gas and played a round that was never going to factor into the finish. That's unfortunate for him. He played himself into contention in a year when he had a horrible run in the majors. Hopefully he takes some positive from this and comes back next year, whatever the world looks like for him, if LIV exists or not, and tries to do something positive with it.
I thought of Peter Kostis, who's a renowned golf guy, who was out there basically saying, he doesn't have to take it gracefully if he disagrees as much as he did. 2 shots in a major, he would have been in the final group on Saturday. I don't have a problem with him challenging the ruling if he literally thought he was, sort of wronged here.
I completely agree. State your case. Be mad about it. It's okay to be mad about it. If you think injustice is being done to you, what are you supposed to do? Just put your arms behind your back and go, "Oh, I'm sorry," and get carted off in the paddy wagon? No, of course not. He should be angry about it if he feels he's been wrong. And that's okay. That tournament still continues whether you're angry or happy about what happened. And that was the subplot for him, is how do you deal with this? What do you do the next day? He played a great 3rd round. I thought it was very impressive that he took that penalty and turned into a positive to potentially contend on Sunday.
Yeah.
Ultimately, then that didn't happen. But what he did in the aftermath, at least competitively, whatever you think of his reaction, was a good thing.
Ryan Ballengee, Golf News Net, does a terrific job. I appreciate you joining us on the road. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Welcome back to the show. Jerry Bonkowski, longtime NASCAR writer and guy who's covered the sport for a long time, will join us. Our weekly NASCAR spot with him. Joey Logano back in the win column. Victory lane, let's say. Doing it at a place he's done it plenty of times before. We'll get into that. And what it means for his season now that he's actually back inside the playoff cut line as well. Well, let's talk some baseball on this Monday edition of the program. Some news and notes from around the league. And look, it has to start with the Red Sox. They've won 13 in a row. Second longest winning streak in the history of this franchise. First time they've won 13 in a row since 1948, and they have played themselves back into this AL wildcard race. And they did it by sweeping the Tampa Bay Rays. And I said when they swept the Yankees, and this was like 3+ weeks ago, when they swept the Yankees, I came on here and told all of you, the Red Sox aren't dead yet. And the Yankees letting them back in by getting swept in that series was, look, it could turn out to be a huge mistake. You just watched the Yankees lose 2 out of 3 at home against the vaunted Los Angeles Dodgers. And, the Yankees are still 11 over 500. They're still 4 in front of the Red Sox on the loss side. And if you're the Rays, now you're hearing footsteps not just from one team, but 2, because the Yankees are 2 back on the loss side, and the Red Sox are just 6 back on the loss side. And there is still a whole bunch of season left. We haven't even hit the 100-game mark of this Major League Baseball season. And you've got the trade deadline coming. And Chad Tracy, it feels like, is starting to get these guys to sort of rally around each other. And whereas the Red Sox were looking at being sellers at the deadline, I remember arguing about it with Sam here on the show about the fact the Red Sox wouldn't be sellers at the deadline. We're now in a situation where Boston could very well be buyers when we get to the trade deadline. You look at the wild card race right now in the AL, they are the 3rd wild card team. They have played themselves all the way back to being the 3rd wild card team. Amazing. Guardians and the Yankees, the other 2 wild card teams. And look, there's going to be a lot of teams with difficult decisions when you look at these wild card standings right now, because, all the way down to Detroit at 46 and 53, Detroit's 4.5 out. And that's probably the cutoff line. A's, Royals, Angels, probably not making the playoffs as wild card teams, but everybody else in the American League is still very much in the thick of things. We mentioned the Dodgers beating the Yankees 2 out of 3. They split a doubleheader in the Bronx on Sunday. The Yankees get a win 2-1 on Sunday night thanks to Jazz Chisholm's home run in that game. But more importantly for the Dodgers, it looks like they're going to miss Shohei Ohtani in his next start. He will not start in Philadelphia against the Phillies as he continues to deal with a knee injury. And last night he took an ugly step, hustling down the line. He only knows how to play the game one way, and that's the right way. And in this day and age where you see guys kind of pull up, not hustling out of the box, hot dogging it a little bit, which I don't, again, one way or another, I don't care. But in this day and age, you had Ohtani on a ground ball to the pitcher, or in between the pitcher and first base, busting it out of the box, and he went down kind of weird, and thankfully he was okay, but still something that the Dodgers are going to have to keep an eye on right now as they try to make sure he's just right. They're up by double digits in the National League West right now. I think they're up like 11 and a half games. Nobody's catching them. So your goal is to just set your team up, set your franchise up to be in the best possible position to succeed come October. All right. The get off my couch moment of the day in baseball on Sunday. Hunter Goodman doing great things at the plate for the Rockies, albeit in a losing effort. And a Reds announcer doing bad things in the press box. Watch for yourself.
The last thing you want to do out there, especially in this ballpark, is start walking guys and then creating an opportunity for a 3-run homer, and then they're back in it.
The 2-2. This ball's well hit, high in the air, deep left center field toward the deepest part of the park, and it is gone. Second home run of the game for Hunter Goodman. He's provided all the Rockies offense today. It is 9-3 Reds. 29th home run of the year for Hunter Goodman.
I remember on Friday night, we were talking about both of the catchers at that time were 0 for 6 with 6 strikeouts in that ball game. That is baseball. 2 days later, they both got 2 home runs. I really don't like the fact that Hunter Goodman's sitting there and kind of admiring the 2-run home run down 100. He did it in the first inning, too. I know you got 28 of them. There's a time and a place. Act like you've done it before. Go put your little shower jacket on, what shower robe they put on, a big purple fur coat here in Denver when somebody hits a home run. But anyway,
as you were.
Thanks for letting me borrow your soapbox. Let's go back.
Sam McClure, get off my lawn, guy. Your team's up big. He'd wind up hitting a third home run. Hunter Goodman has 3 home run games this year. He has 30 for the season. But Sam McClure's been out of shape with his team up big in Colorado against the Rockies, that the guy took an extra second or two. It wasn't like he sat there for 5 minutes. Come on, Sam. Do better than that, would you? It's baseball. This is what young people want to see. You want to bring young people into the game? Let's have a little fun. You're always welcome here on the program. Hello to our friends watching in Cincinnati. We're coming back. Welcome back to the show. Odds and Ends wraps it up in 10 minutes with a suspension for one WNBA head coach, a standout performance for one of the league's stars, and the end of sanity when it comes to Cam Skattebo. Let's bring in our friend Jerry Bonkowski. Always sanity when Jerry is here. Does a great job covering NASCAR. So Joey Logano wins at North Wilkesboro for like the 7,000th time. He like owns that track practically. They should just put his name on it. And look, this is a guy who was outside of the playoff bubble. Now he's on the inside. I think he's like 15th after this win. What is it, Jerry Bonkowski, about Joey in North Wilkesboro?
Well, Joey, this is kind of deja vu in a way, because Joey, in the years that he's won the championship, 2018, 2022, and 2024, he's always had a rough start of things. The first half of the season, even maybe into the first 2/3 of the season, he qualifies for the playoffs, he wins the championship. I see the same exact thing happening here. I mean, that for whatever reason, his team seems to really come to it, really gets to start getting its act together, if you will, around this time. So winning in North Wilkesboro is obviously a big thing for him. And I think you're going to see at least another 2, maybe 3 more wins from him. This is what he needed. He needed the motivation. He needed the momentum. And I think he's going to have it going forward. And, the thing is, though, we still have, 6, 7 races left for the playoffs. He's got to hold on to that being in the playoffs right now. Right now he is. I think he's 14th in the standings. So he's got to hold on to that. If he has, 2 or 3 bad races, that could kick him out too. So, yesterday could have been all for naught. But I think that this is going to be the start of Joey Logano's comeback for 2026.
When you get these short track races, it's very difficult to pass. It's very difficult. So when you get into the position he was in, it's tough to catch him. And Denny Hamlin did everything he could. He threw everything but the kitchen sink at him and still couldn't get him. And even at the end of the race, they quickly ran over to Denny and talked to him. And Denny was just like, man, I did everything I could.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, Joey is the kind of guy that, if you give him the lead, he normally holds on to the lead, especially late in the race. I mean, he's really good at that. But, what surprised me, though, is that some of the guys who are really good short track racers really didn't do that well. I mean, Tyler Reddick is a perfect guy that, that Denny is right now still leading the points, but, Tyler Reddick is a known to be a good short track driver, and he didn't, I think he finished 30th, I think it was, or something like that. So, I mean, there's other guys. Now, on the flip side, though, very impressed with a guy like Shane Van Gisbergen.
Yep, me too.
5th place. That was maybe we're finally starting to see him get his momentum going on tracks. I mean, there's an old adage in NASCAR, Jason, that if you can do good on a short track, you can do good on any track. And obviously, Shane Van Gisbergen has done it kind of the opposite way. If you're good on a road course, you're not so good on the other things. Now he's starting to come into that direction, I think. So maybe this might be a good thing for Shane Van Gisbergen, who, by the way, also qualified, or is qualified right now, as we should say, for the playoffs as well, too. I think he's 13th or 15th, something like that. So, that's a good thing, good sign to see from him too. Bubba Wallace had another good run. Yep. Obviously, Denny Hamlin. I still think this is Denny's year to win it all. If he doesn't win it at all, then I'm convinced he's going to become the Mark Martin of his generation, because Mark never won a championship. Yeah. Fantastic driver, Hall of Famer, but he never won it. And I think this is Denny's last hurrah, if you will, to win a championship.
Thoughts on Joey Logano from a maturity standpoint? We talk about Carson Hocevar, and we talked about him a week ago, and maturity and, getting himself into a place not just to win, but to also be respected by his fellow drivers. And Joey Logano's kind of gone through that sort of, that phase of his life where, he was the guy that everybody couldn't stand. And he was the one getting in people's faces and was sort of that young whippersnapper. What have you seen from Joey Logano that tells you he has matured more? And you see him out there with his son after the race, which was really cool, in the car as well. What do you sort of learn when you watch Joey Logano at this stage of his career?
Championship does it for you. I mean, the same thing with the late Kyle Busch. I mean, Kyle obviously was the man everybody hated. He was kind of like the Dale Earnhardt of his generation as well. I mean, these guys, once they win the championship, it changes them. Especially like if they become parents, they get married, all that kind of thing. It changes from being, bad guys to being beloved guys. And that's kind of where Joey's at now. I mean, he still has a lot of his own detractors. There's no question about that. And he kind of still he kind of likes that kind of bad boy impression from some fans, but he's got a lot more good fans rather than bad boy fans, if you know what I'm saying.
Bubba Wallace won in Indianapolis last year. You've got the Brickyard coming up, one of the crown jewels of the NASCAR season. As you look ahead to that race, what stands out to you?
Well, obviously, Indianapolis Motor Speedway is one of the most difficult tracks to run on. It's extremely tight. It was built as an IndyCar track. It wasn't built as a NASCAR track. I mean, any NASCAR driver will tell you that. And I've been going there since they had the first test in '92, through till this year. And it's one of those races that anybody can win. I mean, it's an old adage in NASCAR, but Bubba proved it last year. Will Bubba do it again? I'm not 100% sure about that. I think that you're going to see somebody come out of nowhere, maybe like a Michael McDowell will come out of nowhere and win this one, or maybe a Christopher Bell, or maybe a Chase Briscoe or something like that. I don't see the bigger names doing or winning this race. I don't see a Chase Elliott. I don't see a Kyle Larson winning this race. I see maybe a guy that's either hasn't done very well this year or is not known for the big races. This, like you said, it's a crown jewel race. These guys are going to put everything they can into this thing.
I got 20 seconds. Who wins the playoffs here? We're down to the final two for the in-season playoff race.
I'll say Gilliland. I'm kind of going with him, but I'm not 100% sure that's the guy.
Not a fan of it?
I'm not a fan of this in-season thing. Okay. I just haven't been there. Just not.
All right. Jerry Bonkowski does a great job on NASCAR. Thank you, my friend. We'll talk next week.
All right. You take care now.
Just about time to put the wraps on this baby for a Monday. Tomorrow on the show? Who knows? Tuesdays are always kind of, we just throw a bunch of things at the wall and see what sticks. Tuesdays is sort of the wild card show. Could go a number of ways. Bill Bender later in the week on college football. There is big news from college football that will slip in here to odds and ends. But before we go, a few reminders for you. If you haven't done so yet, make sure to subscribe to the Sports Wrap with Jason Page podcast, the audio-only version of this show, available Monday through Friday, wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, iHeart, TuneIn, Odyssey, Amazon, you name it. Anywhere you get a podcast, you can listen to this show in crystal clear audio, Monday through Friday. Subscribe. It's free. It's great. I promise you. It works just as well in its audio form as it does this video form. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel is the place to find all things Sports Wrap with Jason Page. The Monday through Friday TV version of the show is available there, 45 minutes, uninterrupted by commercials, unencumbered by commercials. It's great, I promise you. We've also got Sports Wrap Originals, Sports Wrap Shorts. When big news breaks, we jump in. We had the Bryson DeChambeau stuff covered from top to bottom throughout the weekend over on the YouTube channel, because we can't be on TV 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I wouldn't mind it. If a channel wants to do that, we can create a channel for you. But in general, we got to take a break here and there. Sports Wrap Shorts, Sports Wrap Originals, extended conversations, things we can't fit into the show because we simply run out of time. It all goes into the Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel. Subscribe today. The Sports Wrap website is hot and it is running. Go and check it out. SportsWrap.tv. Again, that's SportsWrap.tv. That is the place for everything having to do the show. The aforementioned podcast, the aforementioned YouTube channel, the Substack daily newsletter. You can send us your comments. There's a comment section at the bottom where you can just contact the show and let us know what you think. You like the show? You love the show? You hate the show? You can let me know. I read them all the same. SportsWrap.tv is the place for all of that. All right, that's it. I think I got it all in. Without any further delay, on this Monday edition of the show, it's time for some odds and ends. Odds and ends, and a lot coming from the WNBA. Sandy Brondello is the head coach of the Toronto Tempo. She's going to be missing a game. She was suspended for one game by the WNBA. She might have already missed that game for comments made during the Tempo's loss against the Atlanta Dream. Now, this is a very controversial story, and this certainly isn't the segment where we have enough time to flush out everything about it. But she was unhappy with a non-call or a call that involved Angel Reese. And she said to the official, and could be heard saying to the official, what is she? A protected species, basically. And in her country of Australia, that's actually a common term used by coaches to describe athletes that are overly protected by officials. The problem is in the United States, it isn't taken that way, especially along racial lines when you're saying this about a black player. So she was suspended for a game. Angel Reese took the apology in stride, but made it more of a point to say, hey, this kind of speech can't happen. I don't think Sandy Brondello meant anything by it other than saying that she is being protected by the officials, she being Angel Reese. I do think, and having done some research on this, it is a term that is common to coaches and sports in Australia. She's obviously got to read the room better, and I think the one-game suspension was the right way to do that, but Sandy Brondello gets a one-game ban, and Angel Reese, again, in the middle of something she probably would rather not be in the middle of, and certainly not of her doing. She's actually having a very good season with the Atlanta Dream. We haven't talked a lot about her, but she's having a very good season for a resurgent Atlanta Dream team. WNBA, I think it was Friday night, Caitlin Clark goes 45 and 10 assists. 45 points, 10 assists as the Indiana Fever beat Las Vegas. 45 and 10, that is a gaudy number. Congratulations, first ever WNBA player to go 45 and 10, even though people were whining about what they thought was a travel call on one of her threes late in the game. Let's get over it as Indiana gets the win. 45 and 10 for Caitlin Clark. Oh, and then the ridiculous, just the end of sanity. Watch Cam What are you doing, Cam Scattaboo? You're just recovering from surgery. Come on, man. Meathead Central, ladies and gentlemen. I believe this was at the Fanatics Fan Fest. Just Meathead Central. Cam Scattaboo being Cam Scattaboo, ladies and gentlemen. Let's pause it like midair. Can we do that? Yeah, let's just pause it midair. There we go. It's all you need to know, ladies and gentlemen. It's where the Giants are going. Unbelievable. One other note, Ward Manuel, AD at Michigan, he will not be, as of the end of this year, announcing he will step down as the athletic director at Michigan. He had been under investigation by the school. They were trying to figure out what they were going to do with him long term. He takes them off the hook, says, let's find a middle ground here. That is him parting ways with the school at the end of the calendar year. And that's going to do it for us on this Monday edition of Sports Wrap. Thank you for being with us. Thanks to our guests Ryan Ballengee and Jerry Bonkowski. We'll see you all back here tomorrow for a Tuesday edition of Sports Wrap. I'm Jason Page. Take care.